just don't think he ever really located the football. By the time he looks up, look at that. If he would have looked earlier.
This is one of the most underrated Thursday night football matchups that we've gotten in quite some time. At face value, you might be thinking, oh, Bills versus Buccaneers, who cares? But the storylines and narratives heading into this game were just way too delicious not to talk about. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, work! Leading up to the season, I spammed predictions at you guys consistently. Michael Porter Jr. needed over 5.5 rebounds in his season debut. Tyreek Hill just needed a touchdown, and Steph Curry just needed 1 point. Shout out to those that tailed. For those of you guys that were able to make money, we're giving away our picks for free all season long for the NBA and NFL on my Instagram at @TheFlightMike. And right now, when you use promo code Mikerophone on Prize Picks, they'll match your deposit up until $100. Thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? What if I told you that after an entire year where it looked like Baker Mayfield's career was in absolute jeopardy, he is quietly putting together one of the best seasons of his career? Because that's exactly what happened. Last year was incredibly tumultuous for Baker Mayfield. From demanding a trade from the Cleveland Browns after a lengthy farewell following their announcement that they're pursuing Deshaun Watson, not even the fact that they actually traded for Deshaun Watson. This farewell came when the Cleveland Browns made it known that they were pursuing Deshaun Watson. Shortly after that, Baker made it clear that there was no way he was ever going to play for the Cleveland Browns.
Right now, it's like I really, truly, honestly have no regrets of my time in Cleveland, of what I tried to give to that place.
Right.
And true Clevelanders and true Browns fans know that. And that's why I can walk away from the whole situation feeling like I did it.
And now, do you feel like the way the office has handled it has been disrespectful to you, given where you came in and where they are now? And
I mean, yeah, the respect thing is like it's all going to be like a personal opinion.
Yeah,
like,
and
I feel disrespected.
Shortly after that, Baker Mayfield would get traded to the Carolina Panthers. I've been on record saying that this was the biggest mistake of his career, because had he had stayed on the Cleveland Browns, he would have been able to play for the Cleveland Browns in a system that he was very familiar with on an improved offense while Deshaun Watson was serving his suspension, and potentially rebound after a season where he suffered a shoulder injury and Odell Beckham Jr.'s father called him out. But since Baker Mayfield wears his emotions on his sleeve, that ended up getting him traded to the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers were the worst case scenario for him, because he would get traded there in late July, not really have that much time to learn the playbook, and a few weeks into the season, the Panthers would fire their head coach. Next thing you know, Baker Mayfield gets cut, and he did have a glorious debut with Sean McVay and the LA Rams, and he put together a good enough season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to tab him as their bridge QB. Now, in the offseason, it seemed like a neck and neck race between himself and Kyle Trask, but Baker Mayfield put together an incredible preseason. Next thing you know, he's putting together a career year for himself on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield's able to win like 7 or 8 games, then the Buccaneers won't be in a comfortable position to potentially draft their quarterback of the future unless if they trade up. Drake May isn't falling out of the top 5 in my opinion. I know it's fairly early. Caleb Williams is a lock to go number 1 overall. There's a ton of QB prospects in this year's NFL draft, don't get me wrong. The question is, are they all going to declare for the NFL draft? And that's a different video that we have to save for a different day. But so far, Baker Mayfield has come into this game completing a career high 65% of his completions, the most that he's ever had in his career. Bear in mind, Baker throughout his career has completed 61% of his throws. His passer rating is at an 89.2. Throughout his career, it's been an 86.7. He's thrown 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are sitting pretty at 3-3. So far, he's doing a remarkable job bouncing back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the NFC South is one of the weakest divisions in all of sports. It's like the Saints, Buccaneers, and Falcons are neck and neck for the potential playoff berth. And then you have the Panthers that have yet to win a game, which we've covered the dumpster fire and the horrific mistake that the Panthers have made. And I highly recommend you take a look at that. So they're going up against the Buffalo Bills, who recently haven't looked like the juggernaut that most of us thought they would be coming into the season. The Buffalo Bills are in one of the most competitive divisions in all of sports. If the New York Jets were fully healthy, it would make this even more captivating, but they really squandered an opportunity this past week when Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills somehow, some way lost to the lowly New England Patriots. Hey, you guys remember that JC Jackson guy that signed a huge contract with the LA Chargers and then ended up pulling up to the New England Patriots a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, he's been incredibly effective. It's a huge reason why the Buffalo Bills struggled when they faced off against the New England Patriots. That being said, Bills lost to the Patriots, which prior to that, plenty of us were wondering if Bill Belichick was going to be fired, and now they're facing off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a must-win scenario. If you lose on national television to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there's going to be some questions that are going to be asked about Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. There would have been an incredible opportunity to tie with the Miami Dolphins if the Bills beat the New England Patriots. Fortunately for the Buffalo Bills, they're still neck and neck with the Miami Dolphins with a chance to win the AFC East. With all that being said, how's this game going to shake out? Is Baker Mayfield going to pull off an upset on national TV against Josh Allen, or will the Buffalo Bills come in and take care of business? For the most part, this game went just as about how you expected it to. I mean, whenever you have Josh Allen coming to town, it's going to be very difficult to slow him down. And for the most part, Josh Allen finished 31 of 40 for over 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He was significantly more active on the ground as well, scoring a rushing touchdown and also gaining 41 yards on the ground. This was vintage Josh Allen, and the fact that the Buffalo Bills didn't score more than 24 was a miracle. Honestly, he was really on his game tonight. But what really impressed me was the fact that Baker Mayfield is really stepping up into his role as the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, a lot of people forget that these two are part of the same draft class. Baker Mayfield was selected at the top of the class, Josh Allen a few picks later, and Baker plays his best football whenever he is the underdog. And he once again had a very impressive stat line. I mean, 25 of 42 and some really magical plays such as this one where he somehow evaded pressure and was able to scramble for the first down. He took care of the football. He had a 91.1 rating, and probably the most impressive part of all was he almost was able to complete a magnificent comeback. For the most part, the Buffalo Bills were beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-10 from the second half and on, and that completely changed during the end of the fourth quarter when Baker Mayfield went on a 17-play, 92-yard drive that resulted in a 24-yard touchdown pass to Mike Evans. He followed that up with a successful 2-point conversion to Cade Otton, and the fact that this ball was deflected into Cade Otton's hands really made me feel like we were going to get some Baker Mayfield magic here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers would even get the ball back one more time. Baker Mayfield would lead a heroic drive down the field, which would set up a Hail Mary. Now, I know the number one critique about Baker Mayfield is he could be a little bit too emotional. In terms of on the football field, the number one critique on Baker Mayfield since the dawn of time, even when he was coming out of Oklahoma, was his arm strength. And I don't even think his wide receivers believe in his arm, if I'm being honest. And if there's any evidence of such, it was on this very play. Baker Mayfield wound up the perfect Hail Mary that could have been caught if Chris Godwin turned around in time and received the football. I want to make something clear. This would have been a legacy-altering reception for Baker Mayfield. I mean, how many times have you seen a successful Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary? How many times have you seen Kyler Murray's signature Hail Mary to DeAndre Hopkins?
This would have been Baker Mayfield's moment.
This would have changed everything for him, and it wasn't even taken away from him on a BS no call by a ref or the fact that a defender played this Hail Mary the way it was supposed to. It was the fact that Chris Godwin didn't turn around in time. Now, I understand Hail Marys are called Hail Marys for a reason. You just chuck it up and pray. But man, this would have been so freaking awesome if it was caught. I mean, oh my God, the NFL community would have exploded. And I'm not really faulting Chris Godwin for not being able to catch it. I just wish he did. I really wish he did. Regardless, it's been very nice seeing Baker Mayfield play the best football of his career. And I hope he continues because it's been a joy to watch. Let me know in the comment section down below, especially if you're a Bucs fan. How'd you feel about this game? How do you feel about your team? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.